Everything is clean, everything is...
Let's hope so.
Usual. I've never seen a problem here. And yeah, so essentially we're just here to have a conversation, introduce you to a new artist, talk about life in general, and so yeah, how's it been? I see you got hairs cut.
Hair's cut.
Yeah, a lot of them.
New year, new me.
New year, new you? Okay.
New year, no hair.
All right.
And it's like a no shave November, you know, but it's shave everything January.
Well, what made you decide to do that here in
Honestly,
January in Chicago with all the cold?
Yeah, a lot of people were like, "Why'd you do it when it was so cold out?" I usually I go on the spot. I just wanted to do it. I didn't tell anybody about it. I invited a couple of friends over, and I was like, "Hey, you guys want to shave my head tonight?" And they're like, "What?" And I ended up like recording the process, and it was just really funny. We were all just like goofing around the whole time, and I showed my parents the next day, and they were like, "What?"
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it a lot.
Oh, it looks good on you. Is surprise walking in, because mentally you have a picture of the person you're about to meet from the last time you saw them, and then it takes a second to say, "Hey, who is that person?" Okay,
Where did
recognize
her hair
him.
go?
Okay. So Paige, how long have you been at this as a tattoo artist?
I started about 1.5 years ago. Yeah, I just recently got done with my apprenticeship.
Okay, where did you apprentice?
Here.
Oh, here and there? Okay.
Yeah.
What led you to the shoes tattooing as a career business?
You know, I went to college for a couple of years to be a kindergarten teacher, and I dropped out and got into tattooing. And I don't know, I've always been a good artist. I mean, I think I'm a good artist. But I wanted to do something with either kids, animals, or art, and I thought that being a kindergarten teacher would be pretty cool because it's just like you get to hang out with little kids and they're just starting to like develop as individuals. You do a bunch of arts and crafts, but you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't necessarily for me because of the parents. Like, they're a little crazy nowadays, a little bit more sensitive this time around, but I don't know. I ended up dropping out after 2 years of doing it, and I was just working at a bar and I needed like a cheaper place to live, and I found out the Elgin Art Space Lofts, and they're right across the street, and it's like affordable living for artists. And I went there and I like showed them my art and whatnot, and I wasn't like a professional artist at the time, I was just working at a bar. And I went there and I was like, you know what, I'm thinking about maybe applying for apprenticeships, this and that, and they were like, oh, you should try out Funky Rooster, they're right across the street, that'd be really cool, like you would walk out your front door and you're already at work. And that day I went and applied and I got it, and
Wow.
I've been here ever since.
Okay, and how are you liking it?
I love it. Every single day is really fun. You get to just like hang out with your clients and you do a different thing every day, so it doesn't get too boring.
Okay. Yeah, the life of an artist is that way. It's the trade-off of trading the monotony for the excitement of life, but at times it can be a bit stressful and worrisome when you're going full in as an artist.
Yeah.
And you believe in that. So how's the success been? Have you find nothing but success the whole way, or have there been the same struggles you get as an artist?
There are some struggles when it comes to people wanting to change their designs all the time, but all in all, like, my job's pretty easy and it's really like cool, and I get to draw every single day, and I don't know, I make good money. Like, there's nothing to complain about.
That's a good point that you mentioned. How people like to change your designs. What do you think the percentage is for you on you design and people give you the freedom to create versus saying, this is what I want, you must make this for me?
Sometimes you'll get a picky client, and off the bat you can tell that they're a picky client, so I usually just like, I'm picky when I get tattooed, so I never ever judge people for being picky, because like, it's gonna be on you forever. Like, be however picky you want. Like, I'll work with you. I'm pretty good when it comes to that. But I don't know, a lot of people, they usually like, I'll draw something up for them and I'll draw like a couple like different smaller changes, like if I think that maybe they want something a little bit different, or like the way that I think that I would want it for myself, I'll drop a couple like super small changes between different ones and they'll pick between those. And I really don't have too many bad clients.
Okay. What's your favorite type of tattoo to make then? You like working with still art?
I really like bright colors and like animals or like face portraits, like kind of a new school style.
Okay. So face portraits, you're getting into photorealistic face portraits?
I want to. I'm not there yet, but I really, really respect realism artists, so. And most of my leg is all realism. It has like a big Salvador Dali portrait on it.
Okay.
And it took about like 11 hours to get done. The entire time I was getting it done, I was just like in awe, just watching him just paint on my leg with a tattoo machine. It was really cool.
Okay.
So ever since I got that done, I've just been like obsessed with photorealism. And I know I'm not there yet as an artist, but like I'm drawing a bunch more like in that area of like that field of art. So I'm like trying to kind of train my hand to get into that art style a little bit more.
Well, I imagine it takes just those the pen strokes, doing it enough times over and over again until you finally get it. And really
that was
put in
most of
those
my
hours.
apprenticeship. Because I didn't even have my iPad then. Because with iPads you can just delete and like circle something and make it bigger or smaller or change it and flip it and this and that. But when I first started my apprenticeship, I didn't have any of that. So with every mistake, I had to completely redraw it on a new piece of paper, and I wasted so much paper. Too many trees died that year.
Oh yeah, we're all about the environment here. Save the environment 2020. We must cut out all our carbon footprint, or we're never gonna make it. See, that's part of the reason I came up with this idea of ink therapy. So, full disclosure, I live a fairly independent life as well. I've tried to make a living as an artist. I've tried to get out there, but my art has been in the creative arts of writing and then videography and camera work. Recently, it seems to be there's a lot of us out there. It's become a lot harder to really make your footprint and find your corner.
That happens in tattooing too, because there's so many artists now.
Well, how do you find yourself lucky, or do you believe in fate and drama that you were able to find a place so close and right here?
I honestly believe that it was just like in my path in life. I think that it was just supposed to happen. But at the same time, like I busted my ass for a long time, so I got to give myself a little bit of credit too.
Oh, of course. You don't get where you're at, I like Zay Frank once said, we cannot be the sole author of our own victories or the victim of our own defeats. That at the end of the day, it is a combination of our own hard work and the people around us that choose to support us in many ways. And I think in deciding to do something like this, I wanted to come back to this place and support the group of artists that are here at the Funky Rooster because of the hard work you put in, that you're constantly here, and how open and friendly you are in going through this process. So it's just a great story to hear that you said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to find a space, and sure enough, the place I'm going to work is right next door.
Yeah.
Like you're
yeah, it was
living-
really cool because I started working there, living there, and I was like, this is affordable living for artists. Like, why not try to be a broke artist? Like, why not try to live that life? Because I was working at the bar, I was making decent money there, and like the rent there was so cheap because it was affordable living. And I don't know, like I was like, I just need to take my chance because I wasn't feeling going back to school. Like it just wasn't like in the cards for me. I don't have the attention span for it. And I'd much rather sit and draw on people for a living and just be able to have like conversation.
I think that's kind of the way the life is going is, we in media have presented an entire open world out there for people, and we've trained our students at a young age that you can do anything. If you believe in yourself, if you put forth the effort, you can do anything. You just have to have a dream and follow it. And it really feels like you've followed that dream, American dream, and are living it fully. So congratulations on that.
God bless America.
I hate that. I'd like to say I'm doing the same thing. Here I am in front of a camera, living and doing the dream. But yeah. God bless America.
God bless America.
Right. We laugh at that. We are working on a cover-up. We were talking about it earlier, how I'm covering up the past. How do you feel about tattoo cover-ups as a tattoo
I think
artist?
they're badass. I think it's, if you don't really like something that much, cover it up. Put something cooler there.
Okay, you don't?
I don't have any cover-ups of my own. I need to get a couple covered up, but
Okay.
time will tell with those.
Of your own then. How many tattoos do you have, Paige?
I have no idea.
Self doesn't count?
I think
I'm,
there's like 12. I don't
okay.
have that many. I have really big ones that cover most of my body, so it looks like I have a lot more, but
What is... I'm sorry.
I have
So bad at
a
this,
really, really bad tattoo, and I have like really good tattoos. Should I talk about those?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, which is your favorite of the ones you've got so far?
So my favorite one is I have half of my leg covered in Salvador Dali. I have a big portrait of him on my leg, and then he's in photorealism, and then since he was a Spanish oil painter, like surrealism type art, in the early 1900s, I have some of his oil paintings like surrounding his portrait to cover my leg.
Okay.
And so he's my favorite, and that took forever to get done, and it was done at the convention in Chicago last year, the tattoo convention in Rosemont, and it took about 11 and a half hours to get done, so
That's a long time.
it's my favorite for a good reason.
Okay, yeah.
Put a lot of time and effort into it, but it ended up winning Best in Day for that show, so it was really cool. It was a cool experience to like go up on stage and like show it off to like the audience and the judges and whatnot.
Who was the artist who performed that for you?
Shane Pease. He is a really good friend of mine, and he's an amazing artist. And this year at the convention, we're gonna finish off the rest of my leg and do like Frida Kahlo work.
Okay. Frida also is another good artist to draw
she's-
inspiration from as a
Yeah.
surrealist, right?
Yeah, she's a
You'd be a
surrealist.
surrealist? Well, I love surrealism as an art.
It's like take it as your own.
Okay, then which is your least favorite? What was your... Uh-oh. Because I can talk about this one. See, I got this one years ago. My very first one we're covering up is a Chinese symbol for Ryuk. And the whole concept I was going for is I wanted to balance my body based on the inspirations I had as a young 18-year-old. So coming off of being a football player for years and also loving The Legend of Zelda, I like the concept of a triad with power, wisdom, and courage being the key virtues of life and physicality. So I wanted to have a power side, a courageous side, and a wisdom side across the back. So I started with my very first tattoo, just doing something I could afford, something in that area, and I got this symbol thinking it was pretty cool. Not knowing then I was going to marry a Chinese woman who would point out to me how wrong it is what I was doing, and for the lover, she's right.
Yeah, I was gonna ask why is that offensive? Is it like cultural appropriation
Maybe. I mean,
or?
more just, why would it be offensive? Like, is it more
You
just like...
mentioned that earlier, saying
Am I
that it
going
was.
to get water written on my arm?
Exactly, it's that whole idea that you wouldn't write an American word in...
Ramen noodles.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And, you know,
I mean, I would do that.
see? Yeah. And
Going
then
back
cheeseburger
to
would be
my
good. That'd be
worst
awesome.
tattoo ever.
Yeah, so...
I have the Suave shampoo logo tattooed on my ass.
Okay.
I don't use Suave shampoo. I don't know. I was drunk and I wanted it, and
How big are we talking? Like, full size?
it's like this big.
Okay.
Does it say swab on it?
Oh, it says Suave. It says, but no stencil, like men's handwriting.
Yeah.
No, it's just oh.
That's awesome, huh? We'll,
I-
just,
it's
we'll get
like-
in touch with Suave and see if they're open
I don't.
to
I need
any...
a sponsorship. This is like this is an advertisement,
That
right?
would be. Yeah. We just place the camera just below the midriff comes up. Suave. You know.
Suave.
Would be a good tagline for that, you know.
Oh my god. Yeah, and I mean like it's really badly done, and it's just like on my ass and whatnot. But I don't think I'll get it covered up because it's hilarious.
Okay,
You know? Like,
sure.
It's a great conversation starter.
Well, I mean, if you're in a conversation and people are looking at it, be an odd conversation to start, but, you know.
Yeah, I always wanted to get that one that Steve-O has. He has your name written on his ass, like your and
That's
name.
what I want.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like you go to a bar and you're like, bet you $5 I have your name written on my ass, or like tattooed on my ass, and they're like, yeah, sure. I was like, well,
Yeah, I've never got into the ass tattoos. I guess it's going to take a amount of
no,
time.
you want to start? You want to do this?
Yeah, that'll be the next episode.
get an
Stay
ass
tuned.
first.
Yeah, stay
gotta
tuned
get
to
an
Ink
ass
Therapy
first.
to watch the next episode when I grow my ass. And hey, it's growing back. Okay, I've been getting back to the squats. I'm doing my thing. You know, still got a little bit of jelly to roll, but you know, all with due time. Took a lot of work to get to this stage, and I think the work getting rid of all of this is going to get better. It's going to be worth it. How do you stay so thin?
Me?
Yeah.
What was the question?
Oh, okay. Moving on. So what do you think most people come in for when they come to see you? Are they tattooing simply because of the love of the art? Do you think there's a more of the philosophy behind it?
Like why people get tattooed?
Yeah.
Is the question? I think a lot of people, is it because of the art, but some people just want to be tattooed, which I never really understood. Like, they just want to be tattooed, like, they don't care, like, oh, is that you?
Yeah, because that was the whole concept of ink therapy as we were writing this up. This idea that, and it's in the Urban Dictionary now as well. Oh, it's the shape. Ooh, it's the coloring it in. I feel the difference. So yeah, in this situation, ink therapy is the idea that when you're in the chair, when you have the work being done on you, the whole world and everything around you just sort of fades away. It sort of gets to a point where you're not thinking about all the stress you have in your life. It is a way to, in essence, clear your mental cache. Because the only thing happening is you, your time with the artist, and the action happening on your arm or your body or wherever it is. And I know that some people find that needle point, that acupuncture in its own way, therapeutic. That's something that gives you, I don't always say pain for pleasure, maybe some people are that way, but there is that sense of you're doing this to yourself, you're making a change in your life, and you're using this time to sort of zen out and get free. So I wonder if you seem to see a lot of that then, or
I
at
do,
least a few.
yeah, and people, it's kind of being like a hairstylist or like a barber or something, because you sit and like you tattoo them, and it's like when they're doing their hair, you just talk about their problems, and they just want to like say whatever's on their mind, or they just want to be completely silent and like mellow out for a second. And
Sure.
Either way, I completely respect it. Whenever I get tattooed, I ramble like no other, because it just like distracts you from the pain.
Okay. Now as far as the bartending, I bet that gives you a lot of experience then in being.
Yeah, I've always been kind of a like talkative person, and that's why I also wanted to get into teaching, because I enjoyed conversating with people. But I really love my job because of that too, because I get to meet so many different people, and I get to talk about like why they're getting this tattoo, and like what they did, and like what their job is, like how did you get to this point. Like it's pretty cool to like be able to spend like hours with some people and get to know everything, and you tattoo them, and they'll come back when they want another one.
That's right. You build relationships that way.
Yeah.
So, what's your least favorite tattoo that you've done for someone? Like, is there something that stands out as like, are you sure you want that on your body? Are you 100% sure?
This one.
This is the worst one ever.
I didn't do it, but there was one that really stands out to me. There's so many tattoos that like I'm like, oh, why are you getting this? But I'll do it anyway. But there was one that really stood out to me, and this one guy, he was a bigger guy with a really big arm, and he wanted like a galaxy covering the whole like half sleeve of his arm, and then like a really bright, colorful galaxy. But then he wanted like an orange devil's head right in the middle of it. And then he wanted the body of the devil's head to be like a stick figure of lyrics from his favorite band.
Okay.
But in like not black ink, in like gold ink. It was a bunch of like really weird things, and I was just like, does this look inside your head? Like, I don't think I can draw this up for you. And I ended up turning him away because I just like couldn't figure out how to do it. And I don't want to do tattoos that won't turn out 100%. So, but that one's always stuck out to me. Like, I wonder how this looks inside his head, because this is just a really odd concept. But yeah, there are a decent amount of tattoos where I'm like,
How about as an artist, what was your favorite to create?
usually
that
my
stands out?
original designs are they're so much fun to tattoo, and I just get so much more into them, and I don't know, whatever's from my flash book, like the bright, colorful ones are always my favorite thing. I have this one, like, she's kind of like a Mother Nature lady that I recently did like maybe a month ago, and she's my favorite right now. She's like a really colorful lady with like green hair and like antlers, and she has like birds flying out of her. She's really cool.
We'll have to put that on the screen.
Yeah.
We can get an copy of it. Show off
Yeah, I
some
can
of
send you
this
some
art.
pictures.
Only one
The
we're
birds are alive.
What do you want to know what I look like? Dally man. Oh.
Yeah, well, you'll see what you look like.
See, but the funny thing is, I'm at that age where I'm a dad now, and I'm in my 30s, past 35, so I stopped giving a shit. Like, I'm at that point where I don't care what you think about me. I only care about what I'm doing for myself. The whole purpose for me now
When
is...
did you get to that point?
So, it's funny. The story they would go through would be, I had dreams, and I moved to California, and I did all this work to become a filmmaker. I wanted to be a director. I wanted to be a director of cinema. And as soon as I graduated, they stopped making film. And film just went away, and it became all digital. And film still exists, but it's much harder to work with. It's much more expensive, and it's only being done at certain levels. So I said, okay, well, I wanted to be a filmmaker. I can be a digital filmmaker. I can make the transition. And then I move out here because I'm going through divorce. At that point in divorce, I was at my most depressed, but I was also at my heaviest. I found that the happier I am, the more I eat, the more comfortable I get, and I don't seem to do the work I need to do in myself. And immediately I said, okay, time to flip that. So from about 2010 to 2012, I lost over 100 pounds, I slimmed down, I was back to 185, and everything was great for a while. But then I got caught back up in work. I started working 50, 60-hour-a-week jobs. I stopped working out as much as I used to. The jobs were high stress, so I would use food as a way to cope with that stress, and then I became extremely depressed. And we're talking suicidal depressed. We're talking, I wasn't brave enough to just kill myself, so I was doing it slowly with food, and I was doing it slowly with reckless lifestyle. And I was on my way out, and I quit. I gave it up. I lost the fight. And at some point, it was my future wife here who found me in this depressed state, and I got brave and I asked her out and tried to turn around a lot of the things that I was doing. And in that time since, this is about 3 years ago now, I've been working my way back up, trying to get back into that mend. But it's been a harder process because losing weight in my 30s is much harder than losing weight in my 20s. And I'm still in that same cycle of some of my days I'm out of the house 16 hours a day working, just trying to find and hustle and do what I can do to survive. And no matter what I do in hustle, it never seems to be enough. It always seems to be just pushing me by another week, just surviving paycheck to paycheck. And, you know, you find that balance. But I'm finally at that stage where I say I can do it simply for myself as far as that weight loss goes. And now that's the challenge, is trying to tell myself, you know what, you don't need to eat that cookie. You know,
That's
as
the
I said,
hardest thing.
yeah,
My
I mean,
worst habit is eating in bed, like late at night. I'll go and get like so many chips and just like eat in my bed, and oh my god, there's always crumbs everywhere. It's the worst.
well, you know, I have that love affair with food. Food doesn't judge you. Food is on your side. It makes you feel better.
Food doesn't judge
And
me.
I've always said that when I reach the level of producer I need to be, I can afford to pay someone to slap the stuff out of my mouth before I can really eat it, you know? As soon as they see me going for that donut on set, boom, I got somebody there.
Someone just like
whacking it
dives
out.
across.
But until I reach that level of self-control, the biggest trick is trying to exercise and, you know, overtake your calories versus your
And the more you
intake.
exercise, it builds up your metabolism too.
Yeah. Well, I think part of the other problem is just, you know, life beats on you. I know that
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've got recurring injuries that keep coming back. I played football in my youth, and those injuries don't seem to go away. Like your body just gets sore the older you get. You're way too young to be sore. I don't like that feeling. You walk
That's
funny,
true.
then your back starts hurting, and then your back starts hurting, then your knee starts hurting. I mean, hell, we lost Derrick Rose in Chicago to a toe, if you remember. If you look back in history, Derrick Rose hurt his toe. Then he started walking funny, and he hurt his back. Then he started walking funnier, and when it came to the playoff times, he jumped right out of his knee because his body had been overcompensating all that time to fix things. And, you know, that's something that I run into as I try to build this up. So let's just say it's a work in progress. To me, it's part of the fun of life, is saying, okay, I might have done this, and this is the shape that I'm in, and now I'm chiseling it back down as my fiance here says, regrow my butt so that I can get a butt tattoo, I guess. All right, so let's put that out there. What am I going to get for a butt tattoo? Who? I got to get cheeseburger? What kind of
Cheese on one
burger on the other? Okay.
No, between the cheese, you do one.
I'm sorry, I don't work here anymore.
Yeah, I think Paige is going to relocate
quit.
after this, now that she's getting these tattoos. Don't worry, I will not expose you to my...
between the cheese, the hot dog all between the cheese.
See, the problem is
Coming
with...
out with some mustard.
Oh yeah.
Like, I get the idea of the butt
Some
tattoo,
relish in there.
but I just don't want people that close to the crack. There's a certain... Like, here, let's do this. Let's put up a butt. You know, this is going to be a graphic. Imagine that graphic. You have your butt on screen, all right? The outside cheeks must be kind of like a green area where, you know, hey, this is okay. Then as you get towards that crack, it's got to turn yellow until you get to this one red spot. which is going to be the Death Star trench of your ass, and that's
The
got to be a
Death Star
no.
trench
To
of
me,
your
that's
ass.
a no. And that's the no-fly zone when it comes to
You should do
tattoos,
that as
so.
like a lower back, like tramp stamp tattoo, like the Death Star trench,
Is there?
like in the Star Wars lettering.
I love that. Yeah. And it'll be a scroll. The rest of my back will be the
Yeah.
scroll
The Death
of
Star
the ass tattoo. Yeah. The Star Wars scroll, how they have the scroll at the beginning. It'll just be at the top wide, and then it'll get smaller and smaller, telling the story of my hot dog tattoo on my ass. Well, I've got to finish these sleeves first. I still got a lot of work to do.
And you got
This,
a bunch of
uh,
empty space.
As I say, this puzzle piece needs to get filled in. I don't know if I'm ever going to add to the pig. Another artist that our camera operator Sparks has worked with, who used to work out at Funky Rooster. Shout out to Amy Porter. She has developed
I love
a memento mori for me because, in addition to,
Yeah, she's working on my stomach right now.
oh yeah, that's right, she's working on her stomach. See, it's all tied together. How
I
it
need to
works.
finish, she needs to finish my sleep.
She's gonna finish the sleeve. We're gonna use
We
this
just
for
all gotta
photo
go there right
work.
now.
Seriously.
Let's move this podcast over there.
That'll be episode 17. We're gonna go visit Amy and let her know. Talk it out. No, episode 3. We're not gonna push
I'll
it.
get my sleep done. I'll get
You'll
the
be
next
you'll be the next person on the show. Yeah, that'll be perfect. Yeah, no. So Amy's working on a memento mori for me, which is a humanoid skull. Because I think the idea of a memento mori is to have in place in front of you this symbol that reminds you that even the generals will die. We are all just mortal in these bodies, so you need to treat every day with purpose. You need to have that passion that today is not given to you, tomorrow is not promised. So you have to execute on everything you're doing at that level. And I've always loved the idea of getting that as one of the tattoos. There's that constant reminder of, hey, we are just flesh and blood, plus it looks cool. So I had the concept of taking the skull but making it look like a Pac-Man. And on the other side is one of the ghosts. So it's a human skull, the flesh, the analog, working its way across to the digital, the spiritual, the ghost. And so we picked Blinky, I think, the cyan blue one, because I think blue would look good, and I'm planning on getting the skull on this side, or the skull on this side, and the ghost on the side you're tattooing. And then after that, the rest of it's probably just going to end up being fill-in in small harder colors
I like that.
as I develop out these sleeves. What's the longest tattoo you've had to do? How much time have you spent focused on inking? Or is that basically your whole day just tattooing the person, tattooing the person?
No, I haven't done like the longest sessions. I think my longest one was about 6 hours, which isn't that long.
How does that feel as an artist, just sitting there drawing on a person for 6 hours? Do you find you become more fatigued, or do you think they become more fatigued?
I wipe out after. It's a really tiring job. It's just like emotionally and like mentally tiring. Because like when I was working at the bar, like I'd walk like 16,000 steps like every single day, and I come here and I'm like sitting on my ass all day. So I thought that it would like I would have more energy to do things, and that is not the case. I go home and I'm just wiped out, so tired. But I also hold my machine really weird. I've always held my pencil really weird. Like I use all the muscles in my hand. Cause like in school they teach you how to like hold things like this, like kind of like this. I fist it,
Okay.
and I hold it like that, and then it's like this on my thumb. It's really bad. I'm trying to train myself out of it, but it's kind of hard when you've been doing it forever.
Sure, once you get comfortable.
Yeah,
in a
you
way.
get comfortable with it. Yeah, so when I do really long sessions, by the end of it, I have to do a bunch of hand workouts, or I'll get arthritis pretty early. So
That's funny. That's me as a painter. So I take occasional jobs as a painter just to get by once in a while. Not as many as I should, but every time I get back into painting, it's about 3 or 4 hours in when I start to look at my hand and think, oh man, I forgot I had all those muscles in there.
yeah.
Then I have to start switching hands. So I bet you can't switch hands, can you? You gotta go all one way.
Yeah. Yeah, usually in my downtime, whenever people like see me, this is like what I'm always doing. I'll always be stressing my hand like this and just like doing little hand workouts. People are like, are you okay? You doing good?
Well, that's what I want to ask you, because I imagine some of the audience here is they, either are interested in tattoos or they're interested in the art form. What does an artist like you do with your off time? Because you think, oh, I only see you as a tattoo artist. What do? Are you just a normal person outside of here, or?
I have 2 dogs and 2 guinea pigs.
Oh, okay. What are their names?
I have a German Shepherd Doberman mix named Layla, and I have a Dachshund named Wilfred, and I have one of my guinea pigs named is Guava, and the other one is named Cocaine.
Oh, wow. Those are awesome names.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah,
He came with the name.
Don't do drugs, kids, unless you do. And if you
Unless
do,
you do.
be safe. Stay off the roads.
Oh my god, yeah, they have really funny names. Someone just dropped them off at my house one day. They're like, oh, like, my boyfriend doesn't want these anymore, like, he's gonna release them if you don't take them. I was like, wait, so you're telling me that these guinea pigs are gonna die if I don't take them
I was
right
going to say,
now?
where do you release them? You just release them into the wild?
Yeah,
mean,
I
how does
literally
that
don't know,
work?
and I didn't even ask any questions. I was like, okay, bring them over. Because I always have so many animals. I have so many animals all the time, but right now I only have 4. And, I don't know, I fostered a little bit from Anderson Animal Shelter, and then I ended up keeping one of the fosters, which is my dachshund now. I haven't fostered since because I shouldn't have any more animals.
The Dachshund is Wilfred?
Wilfred, yeah.
And what was the shepherd again?
Layla.
Layla, I should remember
Yeah,
that.
she's really pretty.
How are they together? It seems like you got the little medium-sized
I've
dog
always
and the
had a
big
big
German.
dog and a little dog. I've grown up with German Shepherds, and I always had Chihuahuas.
Okay.
So German Shepherds and Chihuahuas. I have one of my Chihuahuas tattooed on me.
Aw.
His name was Buddy.
Get that?
He passed away in June, but he's the coolest little dude. But yeah, I love little dogs and I love big dogs. That's why I always have both. And I live alone, so I like having dogs
Of course.
because they're kind of an alarm system too.
Well, dogs are a great alarm system. They're a special kind of companion. You know, they're not judgmental of you. They're always waiting for you when you come home. I've never seen anyone work. So maybe my fiance, she kind of gets that same excitement when even away from hotel sometimes when I come home. But the dogs are just that special breed of we're here, we're with you, and whatever you want. And
Yeah, I'm utterly obsessed with dogs.
so about tattoos, do you have any no-go zones where you don't feel comfortable tattooing a human?
Genitals?
Okay. So I'm sure there are people who, probably wonder about that.
I did one vagina tattoo ever, and I'm never doing it again.
Oh my. Which parts?
Top, like
Okay.
the bikini area, but like very close to the clit. It was a lot. And she was just a little bit bigger, and I would like lift her fupa up and. Let me paint the picture for you.
Just paint the picture for you in the audience. We had to do. Now, were you holding it up? Were you holding it up while you were tattooing, or did you
I
just
kind of
have
had to elbow it.
Oh wow. Okay, so to lean into it. Listen up,
Paint the
or
picture for you.
she'll never watch this. She'll never know.
No, yeah,
Yeah. What? You know what? What did she say coming in? She's just like, I got
Well,
this.
she wanted it on her hip at first, and it was just like she called and like she made the appointment with Sarah, so I didn't even know what I was doing. And then she was like, "Oh, you're gonna be doing a hip tattoo later on," and I was like, "Okay, like I can do that." And it was like a small like red heart, and she came in and she told Sarah, she's like, "I want it a little bit lower." So then like Sarah told me that it's gonna be a little bit lower, but she didn't say like where. And then she came back, and her husband came back with her, and they like sat over here put like the doors up so nobody else could see her, type of thing. And she pulled down her pants, and she's like, "I want it right here." And I was like, "Okay."
That's the target.
And I'm just like really nice, so I just couldn't turn her away. So I was like, "Okay, we can do this. It's fine."
Yeah, it's gotta be awkward.
But yeah, never again.
Never again.
Never again.
So that's a no zone right in that area. Oh,
I don't. I just don't do
So you're-
genitals.
what
I won't
about
tattoo
faces?
drunk people either.
Well, that's smart.
I'll only do a face if they already have a bunch of face tattoos. Like I don't want to be the person that ruins their life.
Okay.
There was this really cute girl that I've tattooed a couple times, and super cute. She's probably maybe 20, maybe 21. She has just tiny little face tattoos all over her face. Just so many little ones, like mom under her eye, and like a couple like teardrops and like upside down crosses and stuff. And she came in and she wanted a throat tattoo, like just some words across her throat. And I was like, I'm literally only doing this because you have them already all over your face. Yeah, I won't be the one that like does the first one. Yeah, and I also just won't tattoo drunk people. It's just they move too much and they bleed too much.
Yeah, I've heard that to be a thing. Bleeding the low alcohol or the blood alcohol thins out the blood, and then I don't remember what that's looking like. How about focus though? Do you ever give yourself how's your focus on projects?
I am really, really bad at focusing. I need to be doing a decent amount of things at the same time as whenever I'm trying to draw. I'll have stand-up comedy on or a podcast because I like to listen to people talking. It like zones me into something instead of zoning out, you know? And then I'll either have like a Rubik's Cube or a fidget spinner or one of those like things that you mess with, and I'll always have one of those by me. And then I have like my dogs around, or like I'll be here listening, doing something and talking to people at the same time. Like I have to be focusing on like multiple things at once to be able to do something, which is also super weird.
You know, I don't think it's super weird because it does feel like that's the society we put ourselves in. We have become obsessed with media. We have so much consumption of media on a regular basis. I mean, YouTube itself uploads hundreds of hours of content every single day, and some of it's just the slurry of, you know, people putting their funny pet videos or even their unfunny pet videos. But there are many accounts putting up podcasts, vlogs, interesting content and original content that you don't get other places. I could not talk through that one. That's a funny spot to get a tattoo right there. So
Yeah, it's going to get more sensitive towards the back.
Yeah, for those of you listening at home, it's working its way towards the back of the arm, which is probably the absolute most painful.
It's closer to the armpit, and the armpit is a very, very sensitive place because all of your nerve endings kind of connect there.
Yeah, if you heard, all the nerve endings in the armpit are starting to get tickled, so this is an interesting feel.
Not the bad ones.
Have you ever had anyone quit on you mid-session?
No.
Never
It
had
hurts,
that?
but I feel like people are pretty good at, like, I can finish this. People always ask me, like, what my craziest stories are, like, while being a tattoo artist, and I really don't have that many, like, especially in an area that isn't, like, by a bunch of bars, and it's not, like, in the city. Like, I don't get the craziest people, and I usually just get people that are, like, respectful, and they just want the art done.
So, Paige, why do you get ink in general? Like, what was your first envoy
like
into
me
it?
getting tattooed?
Yeah, like when you decided I'm gonna get tattooed, what was it that pushed you over
I
that edge?
really thought I was a cool kid in high school. I was that kid that would ditch class and smoke cigarettes underneath the bleachers. And I think I got my first tattoo when I was like almost 17, and it's like across my rib cage. And it was like my first ever one, and I was a lot skinnier than I am now. It's just like I had no body fat at all. I don't know why I did it.
Okay.
Well, actually, I thought that if I got like the most painful tattoo first, then the other ones wouldn't hurt at all. I'm completely wrong by that. They all fucking hurt.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just really liked the art of it, and I was always like, whenever I saw someone with a tattoo, I'd be like, oh my god, you're so cool, that's amazing, like let me see it, let me feel it, like what is it raised, this and that. Like before I ever even wanted to be a tattoo artist, I was always so like, just intrigued by it.
Okay.
So I'm happy that I know everything about the whole process now.
Oh, man. Love it though. I love the shading and the use of color you've got going on here.
Yeah, it's gonna look really cool, and it
fact
stands
that
out really cool with your skin tone.
I think my favorite part so far. No, stop.
I'll just stay in this
You're
spot
fine.
the rest of
Just
the
hang out. Yeah, the
podcast.
rest of- no, I think my favorite part so far is the way you've blended the colors in the palette. So as we come to the end of this session, of this ink therapy, I can say that I feel much better. I started my day stressed out and worried about all the stress in the world. How am I going to find that job that is self-actualizing? And I realized that being me is what I do. And it's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's literally about creating the things that I can't not create. I knew that this was in me and I had to get it out there. I want to special thanks out to the Funky Rooster for allowing us to set up cameras in the shop, for allowing us to go live on this event. And I tell any one of you watching, if you're in the Illinois area, you got to experience the Funky Rooster. They have some of the best wall art, not just, there's 3D art, there's masks, there's so many options going on. It is the best environment that I've found in getting a tattoo. And I'm not the person necessarily to trust, but as someone who gets tattoos once in a while, I've yet to find a place that I like better than this place. Every one of their artists is the best. Paige Hudon. Special thanks to Paige Hudon for her wonderful work, her effort here, coming up with a tattoo concept that both covers up an old tattoo while still leaving it there to pay respect to the original artist who put the work in and giving me something. Enhancing the overall powerful side of my philosophy with a brilliant Batman pow to go along with it. Sorry for the peak. Is that too loud for you there? Brings me on to my, okay, perfect, yeah. Next is my special thanks in no particular alphabetical order to Anthony Sparks, to James Aberstash. Aberstish?
Everstitch.
It's the stash. And then she just goes by Stax. I believe her other name is Carmen, but she goes by Stax and Stax alone. That's Stax with 3 X's. So get it right there if you're looking for Stax. Just safe search on, unless not. And just enjoy the show. You're welcome. Who else have I not thanked? Most importantly, I need to give a special thanks out to Candace Smith, my inspiration, my savior on this earth, and my angel, who both supports me mentally, physically, and financially. I think just wandering away. Without Candace, I also would not be here anymore. And it was her love and passion that is keeping me around. She works hard to help me find work. She's absolutely the best human that I have around my life. So special thanks again to Candace Smith. I cannot wait to make you my wife. And obviously special thanks to any of you who are watching. Thank you for your support. If you like the channel, we'll be doing more of this, I guarantee it. Power of positivity. I know it's going to happen because once we cut this down, there's going to be a lot of fun to check out. After that, I think the next thing we want to do is just watch this tattoo, see the final results, and call it a day. So until next time, if you can't afford regular therapy, there's always ink therapy. I mean, see a doctor if you need to see a doctor. Don't let me talk you out of that, but this does get results. I feel much
It's like
better.
someone's leg's broken. I'll go get a tattoo. It's fine.
Can you tattoo a cast on this broken leg? I'm sure it'll feel better when we're done.
You can make it if you want it. You can make it. You can make it if you want it. You can make it. You can make it if you want it. You can make it. You can make it if you want it. You can make it. You can make it if you tell me the right thing. Oh, you can make it if you tell me the right thing. Oh, you can make it if you tell me the right thing. Oh, you can make it if you tell me the right thing. Oh, 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 you